In today's video, we're going to be discussing depression and anxiety and what I used to defeat both of them. Everybody knows what depression and anxiety is, but you don't really know what it is until you've actually felt it in your being. It is the most uncomfortable sensation. Being depressed and like this overwhelming sense of pain, and it like is here in your head and in your heart, and you just want to break down and cry with like this deep sobbing emotion. And usually you don't know why. You just feel this sensation of sadness all the time. And once you realize that you have that's inside of you, you need to break down where it's coming from. All of the feelings and anxiety and pressures and depressions that we have inside of us stem from something, whether it's deep-seated childhood abuse or, situations that we've been through in our lives. Those things affect us when we're young, and they stay with us through adulthood. And it's very difficult to get rid of or even acknowledge that it's there and seek help. Anxiety, on the other hand, is a whole nother beast. It's this stress. It's this, your body's shaking. You have this fear, constant like adrenaline. And I mean, it causes you to crash. Like when you have heavy anxiety and you feel it all day, middle of the day, morning, evening, you're just so exhausted from all the excess adrenaline in your body that you can't even function. And you try to supplement with coffee or vitamins, but it's this constant shaking. Like you cannot break this feeling. Now I'm going to address each one individually because they are two separate things. A lot of people suffer from both at the same time, but I just want to acknowledge that they are each individual things. So depression first. Depression, like I said, it's this deep-seated anguish that you have inside of you. And I understand where you're coming from. I've experienced it myself, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to cope. I went to go see therapists. They prescribed me medication. Things happen in our lives that really affect us, either at a super young age or when we're older, or we go through, bankruptcy, divorce, loss of a loved one, loss of a spouse, loss of a relative. Like these things stay with us, and the decisions that we make and the things that happen to us really affect who we are on a deeper level, because it molds us. Like when we're young, we're so susceptible to all of our surroundings that if we have gone through physical or mental abuse as a child, that sticks with us. And we don't know where this anger or this sadness come from, but if you really break it down, it always comes from something that happened in your past, something that stays with you, and something that you really need to revisit, accept as a thing that happened, and move on from it. You have to pull yourself out of the past, because depression is literally your mind dwelling on the past, thinking about these unforgotten moments. And you need to really acknowledge what those things were that happened to you and figure out a way how you can forgive those things, even though they might have been the most horrible things, like really like child abuse. It's a really hard thing to accept and acknowledge, but the only way that you're going to get to a place where you're okay with yourself and happy in your life is to revisit those things and really accept that they happened and that they are a part of you, and that you need to move on past it. You need to accept it and move on. You cannot dwell in the past, because that dwelling in the past is causing the depression. It's causing the anger, it's causing the stress, it's causing the sadness, that cry that sits right here, that always sits there, and you want to release it. It's a moment that happened in your life, and you need to learn from it. You have to embrace it, because you cannot change the past. The past happened. There's no going back and fixing it. So the only option, that's the thing, you don't have any other option. You have to accept it. So if you can really take that to heart, you'll be able to move on from that. Now, later in this video, I'm going to discuss what I used to treat both of these, but let's get on to anxiety right now. Now, I want to discuss anxiety. Anxiety, you know what it is. You're on this video for a reason. You have it, you've had it, you've experienced it. Anxiety, man, it is just constant fear, constant stress, constant adrenaline. And it's your brain misinterpreting how life works. Like, you're too focused on things that are to come to you, like a job interview, or is your relationship going to work out, or are you going to be healthy, are you going to have cancer when you're 62? These things in your life that you're constantly worried about. Financial stress is a huge part of it. A lot of our society lives in financial stress because we don't know, we don't have job security. We don't know where our next meal is coming from. These things that are always in the future, that are unreachable because you're in the present, you think about them, you dwell on them, you live in the future. You don't think about what's happening right now. You don't think about the breath that you're taking right now. You're constantly thinking, what if? That dwelling on the future is causing that anxiety. I promise you that anxiety is your mind not being present. I used to have this crazy anxiety. Like, my heart was just on fire constantly. And it was because my life was so uncertain. I was in college. I had a shaky relationship. I didn't know if I was going to be stable in my relationship. I didn't know if I was going to get a job out of college because we were going through the recession. And all of these things leading up to that anxiety, it was caused by me being uncertain about the future, me dwelling on what's going to happen, as opposed to living in the present and accepting what is now and putting those things on the back burner as things to come that I do have control over. And so what you need to realize is thinking about the future, dwelling in the future, living in the future as opposed to the present is causing your anxiety. Now, I want to talk about the one thing that really helped me break both of these things in my life. And it's going to sound silly, but it's knowledge. Knowledge, knowing what was causing my depression, what was causing my anxiety. And it wasn't like I was seeking this information out online. Somebody recommended a book to me, and I read this book. And it was so profound and yet so simple that my analytical brain was able to take these concepts that he was talking about and really associate them to my life and really break down what I was thinking about. It allowed me to listen to myself, because we are two separate beings. We are like our instinctual self and our higher level thinking self. That's why people say, like, I'm so sad, I'm so depressed, I can't live with myself. You're acknowledging right then and there that you have two selves. And so once you allow your higher level self to analyze everything that you're thinking about, whether it was in your past or your future, then your higher level self can speak to your lower level self, your instinctual self, and basically let it know that everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. And this book that I read was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. If you haven't read this book, after watching this video, just go read that book. It's very long, it's very boring, but if you really listen to it a couple of times, like reread a couple of chapters that are most relevant to you, the amount of insight that you will get from this, like, honestly look at it with an open mind and an analytical brain. Like, really break down its cause and effect. What causes the effect? Once you break down the cause and accept that cause and live in the present as opposed to dwelling in the future or the past, you will be okay, because you understand that the only thing you have control of is you right now, the breath that you're having right now. And let me segue that into the next thing, breathing exercises. They discuss it in the book. They're very, very valuable. Being able to stop whatever you're doing, take, 10 minutes out of your day and breathe. Count your breaths. In, one, out, two. In, one, out, two. You literally are only focusing on your breath right now, and it allows you to take charge of the panic, the anxiety, the sadness, the crying. The breathing exercises not only give you oxygen into your blood, but it allows your mind to work better. It allows you to actually stop and think, what is causing this attack right now? What is causing this panic attack? Breathing exercises and this book, The Power of Now, are the most powerful resources that I could ever suggest to anybody fighting depression and anxiety. Please understand that I know where you're coming from. I know what you're going through. I've been through it. I still suffer from it occasionally, but I'm in more control over my emotions and my life. Please read this book. Please consider breathing exercises. I really hope you guys got some value out of this video. Please hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you aren't already for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one.